Our friend group, Female 30s, gets together about once a month. A few years ago, certain group members began trying to conceive. One of the first ones to start trying was Katie. Unfortunately, Katie and her husband had difficulty conceiving. This was understandably very difficult for them. Once other members of the group started having kids, Katie asked us to not talk about kids at our monthly get-togethers because it was difficult for her to hear. She also made it clear that she would not attend any baby showers. The rest of our group had mixed feelings about this. We understood that Katie was very upset about her difficulties conceiving, but it was disappointing to not be able to share important parts of our lives. We generally go around and everyone talks about what's new in their lives, work, promotions, hobbies, etc. But whenever one of us was on maternity leave, we could basically only say, everything is good, because we couldn't talk about the main thing happening in our life. That said, now that our kids are older and we are all back to work, have time for hobbies, we have started to enjoy having a dedicated time for no kids talk. It is something that we have even come to look forward to. Fast forward to now and Katie and her husband are pregnant, which is very exciting. She is nearing her due date and planning to take at least a year off to stay home with the baby. That's enough background, so now to the point. Last night, me and 2 other members of our group got a text from Katie's husband saying that she is really upset that we barely ask her about her pregnancy when we see her and that no one has offered to throw her a baby shower. At first, we were surprised to hear this. We do text Katie at least weekly to check in on her. We just don't talk about it at our monthly hangouts. She has been talking about it in her updates, but no one has asked any follow-up questions about the pregnancy, and we more focus on her other updates. We talk to the rest of the group except for Katie, and the general vibe is that we want to keep the no kid talk rule in place, and it feels a little rude that Katie expects us to when she is the one who made the rule in the first place. Would we be the jerk if we keep our traditions? We also don't feel like we have time to plan a shower with the holidays happening. It sounds like no one wants to go through the stress of planning a shower when Katie didn't even go to theirs. Update, additional information. I just want to address some common comments. 1. We were all still pretty young when Katie first started experiencing fertility issues. For most, if not all of us, she was the first person we knew to share that she was experiencing that. When she asked we not talk about babies, kids at the monthly get-together, we agreed because we didn't know if that was a reasonable ask or not, and really just wanted to be supportive of our friend. I understand many of you would not have agreed to that, and if it happened again, IDK, maybe we wouldn't, but at the time we went along with it. 2. I know Katie distancing herself from such a big part of our lives over the past few years has been a source of hurt for most of us, but aside from this issue, she is a lovely person. No one has any plans of excluding her from our friend group. We've just always understood it as a coping mechanism for her, and no one in the group thinks that's worth ending a friendship over. 3. I am fairly confident that no one is acting out of retaliation or in a tit-for-tat manner. Since Katie asked for the no kid talk rule, we have always still talked about our pregnancies, parenthood. We just did it when Katie wasn't around. Although we can only coordinate the big no kid talk group get together about once a month, friends who live closer to each other or work together or who have kids the same age often meet up at other times, and we would normally talk about kid stuff, then if Katie wasn't in attendance. Once Katie got pregnant, we started being able to talk kid stuff when she was around, and have definitely talked about her pregnancy in those settings, just not at the monthly get-together. This wasn't done in retaliation, it's just how it's always been, so we didn't really think to do anything different. 4. The reason most of us want to keep the no kid talk rule in place is because as our kids have gotten older, we've come to appreciate having a time to take a break from being mums first and just enjoy our friendship and the other aspects of who we are as people. We are often in work mode or mom mode, so having this dedicated space has been really nice. I understand that Katie is not where we are today, but rather where we were back then when we really wanted to gush about babies and kid stuff. So I sympathise with that, but I also think it's a bit unfair to expect us all to accommodate her again. We are more than happy to text about her pregnancy or talk about it on other occasions. The rest of us just want to have this one get-together remain kid talk free. To be fair, she does live the farthest from the rest of us, so she usually only sees people in the group about one other time a month, but we are still available by text. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot, she set the rules, and if she wants to change them, then she can bring it up and have that chat. But she literally set the rules and refused to talk about your kids or attend your baby showers. It's a little entitled to now expect everyone to fawn over her being pregnant. Comment 2. Not the idiot. But expect Katie to stir the pot in the future, and for many of you to eventually have a falling out with her. Now for the update. So it's been a week since I last posted about the situation with Katie and her pregnancy, and a lot has happened. After we got the text from Katie's husband, we decided to have a group meeting to discuss everything without Katie there. We wanted to figure out how to handle the situation without hurting anyone's feelings. We all agreed that we didn't want to change the no kid talk rule for our monthly get-togethers. It's become a tradition that we all enjoy, and it's nice to have that break from our daily lives. But we also realised that Katie might be feeling left out, especially since she's pregnant and probably wants to talk about it. We decided to reach out to Katie individually and talk to her about how she's feeling. We wanted to make sure she knew that we cared about her and her pregnancy, even if we weren't talking about it at our monthly hangouts. Most of us had a good conversation with her, and she seemed to understand where we were coming from. However, things got a bit more complicated when it came to the baby shower. We all felt bad that no one had offered to throw one for Katie, especially since she's been wanting a baby for so long. But with the holidays coming up, everyone was really busy, and no one felt like they had the time to plan a shower. We talked about maybe doing a small, casual get-together instead of a full-blown baby shower. We thought we could do it on a weekend when we were all free, and it wouldn't be as much work to plan. But when we brought the idea up to Katie, she didn't seem very excited about it. She said she appreciated the offer, but she had been hoping for a traditional baby shower like the ones she had missed out on. We were all feeling a bit stuck at this point. We wanted to support Katie, but we also didn't want to stress ourselves out by planning a big event during the holidays. We decided to put the Barbie shower idea on hold for now and revisit it after the new year. In the meantime, we've been trying to make an effort to check in with Katie more often. We've been texting her about her pregnancy and asking how she's doing. We've also been trying to include her in other get-togethers outside of our monthly hangouts, so she has more opportunities to talk about her pregnancy with us. But last night, something unexpected happened. Katie sent us all a group text saying that she had been feeling really isolated from the group lately. She said that she understood why we wanted to keep the no kid talk rule, but it was making her feel like she couldn't share a big part of her life with us. She also mentioned that she had been talking to some other friends who were more interested in her pregnancy and that she might start spending more time with them instead. She said she still wanted to be part of our group, but she needed to be around people who were more supportive of her right now. We were all pretty shocked by the text. We thought we had been doing a good job of supporting Katie, but it seemed like she didn't feel the same way. We're not sure what to do now. We don't want to lose Katie as a friend, but we also don't want to change the dynamic of our group. We're planning to talk to Katie in person at our next monthly hangout, which is coming up in a few days. We're hoping we can figure out a way to make everyone happy, but it's going to be a tough conversation. For now, we're just trying to prepare for the hangout and hoping for the best, but there's a feeling of uncertainty hanging over the group, and we're not sure what's going to happen next. Now for the comments. Comment 1. Man, this takes me back. Had a friend who was vegan, and we all skipped meat at our potlucks for her. When she started eating meat again, she couldn't understand why we didn't just flip the menu. It's tough to reset norms, but communication is key. Katie needs to express her new needs clearly. Comment 2. Why not have a heart-to-heart with Katie? Explain the confusion around the no kid talk rule and ask her what she's comfortable with now. Maybe suggest a separate celebration for her pregnancy so she feels acknowledged without breaking the group's dynamic. Open dialogue can work wonders. Now for the next story. I, 27 years old female, have a niece, 14 years old female, who is my older brother's, 36-year-old male, and his wife's, 34-year-old female daughter. She's a very sweet girl and she loves my horses and the other horses I board, which are my friends. My brother and his wife live in the city, while I live in my uncle's ranch on my mother's side in a different state. My brother and I have different mums but the same dad. They sent my niece to come stay with me for a few months, which I greatly accepted. She's been good and she calls her friends back in her home state and FaceTimes her parents once in a while. She's a great help with feeding my animals and my horses. The only problem is she doesn't know how to ride horses and sometimes teases the horses. I have 2 very young horses, a filly and a colt, which are very excited horses, and I don't really allow her in the field with them, as they like to kick and buck even when people are around. And I have an old stallion, which was my first horse my uncle got me. His name is Rooster, and he is 32 years old. That is my niece's favourite horse. She always wants to ride him, but I don't allow anyone to ride him, and I don't ride him anymore. He's very patient and kind, but he doesn't like anyone touching his back legs and his tail when you walk behind him. He will kick, but when he knows you are there, he doesn't mind being touched there as long as anyone approaches him from the front. Overall, he's a great horse. She will tease him with a lunging whip by tickling his back legs and his tail, trying to get him to kick. I have told her numerous times and warned her. She still continues to do it behind my back. Well, I told her to go get Rooster out of the pasture and into his stall. She went to go and get him, and I heard a scream in the barn. I got over there and she was holding onto her leg, crying in pain, while Rooster ran back to the pastures. I asked her what happened, and she said Rooster had kicked her left thigh. I asked her if she touched him on the back legs or his tail, and she said she pushed him on his tail to get him in his stall, and that's when he kicked her and ran off. She started cursing about Rooster and doesn't want to be around him. I told her it's her fault she provoked him, and for not listening to me after so many warnings. I told her that bruise on her leg is a lesson now to be careful around bigger animals, especially ones that can kick at any moment. She can walk it off, and she called her parents after. They called me and told me that it was my fault for not supervising her and that they're going to get her home. I told them everything, but they won't listen, and my sister-in-law told me I need to get rid of Rooster. I told her no and hung up. Now I am wondering, am I the idiot? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. I've known enough teenage horse girls to know that people that age can absolutely learn how to behave around a horse. Animals and humans alike have their instruction manual of things they like and don't like. Niece was being an arrogant human, messed around and found out. And the fact that it's just a bruise shows how relatively mild Rooster's jab was. Comment 2. Not the idiot. This wasn't the first time she touched the horse, and you have told her several times not to. So yes, it is her fault she got kicked. And if your brother, sister-in-law and daughter aren't even living at your property, what right do they have to tell you to get rid of Rooster? I know who I'd be getting rid of. Now, for the update. A lot has happened since the incident with Rooster and my niece. After that day, things were tense for a while. My niece was pretty shaken up, and my brother and his wife were understandably upset. They felt I should have been watching her more closely, and I get where they were coming from. But I also felt like my niece needed to learn to respect the animals and the rules I had set. The first week after the kick was rough. My niece was limping around, and every time she saw Rooster, she'd give him a wide berth. She stopped teasing the horses altogether, which was a relief. I guess the bruise on her leg was a pretty stark reminder of what can happen when you don't listen. I spent a lot of time talking with her about safety and respect for the animals. It was a conversation we should have had earlier, but better late than never, right? My brother and his wife cooled down after a few days. They didn't bring her home like they threatened, but they did make me promise to keep a closer eye on her. I agreed, of course. I didn't want anything like this happening again. We started having regular video calls where we'd all talk things through. It was a bit awkward at first, but it helped clear the air. I decided it was time to teach my niece how to properly handle and care for the horses. I started with the basics, showing her how to approach them, how to read their body language, and how to groom them. She was a quick learner, and I could tell she was starting to really understand and appreciate the animals. It was nice to see her taking it seriously. We also started working on her riding skills. I have a gentle mare named Daisy, who's perfect for beginners. My niece was nervous at first, but she took to it like a duck to water. She's been riding Daisy under my supervision, and she's getting better every day. It's been amazing to watch her confidence grow. The relationship between my niece and Rooster has been slowly improving too. She's been extra careful around him, and I think he's starting to trust her again. She's been helping me with his care, feeding him and grooming him, always under my watchful eye. She hasn't tried to ride him, and I think she understands now that he's not a horse that can be ridden. As for my brother and his wife, we've been talking more. They've seen the progress their daughter has made, and they're starting to trust my judgment again. We've had some good conversations about boundaries and responsibilities. It's been a learning experience for all of us. My friends who board their horses here have been a huge support too. They've been giving my niece tips and helping her out. It's turned into a bit of a community effort, and it's been great to see everyone pitching in. It's been a month now and things are looking up. My niece is talking about maybe getting a horse of her own one day. She's got a long way to go before she's ready for that, but it's nice to see her so passionate about something. She's even talking about staying with me for the summer to help out and learn more about ranch life. I've learned a lot too. I've realized that I need to be more vigilant when it comes to teaching and supervising, especially with someone who's not used to being around large animals. I've also learned that sometimes it takes a tough lesson for the message to really sink in. Despite the challenges we've faced, I'm hopeful for the future. My niece is turning into a responsible young horsewoman, and our family is communicating better than we have in a long time. It's been a tough journey, but I think we're all coming out of it stronger. And who knows, maybe one day my niece will be the one teaching others how to respect and care for these beautiful creatures. Now, for the comments. Comment 1. Oh honey, Rooster's just teaching life lessons the hard way, hoof style. You're not the horse whisperer, and kids got to learn that actions have consequences. Maybe next time, give her a hobby horse and save the drama for a llama. Ranch life ain't for the faint-hearted. Comment 2. Sounds like you're doing your best in a tough situation. It's not easy juggling the hat of aunt and horse trainer. You're teaching her valuable lessons about respect and safety. Keep those lines of communication open with her parents, and maybe invest in some padded riding gear for the niece. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.